Hello back Python programmers. Today's episode we're going to discuss about Python methods. So this is the last video. I think this is part 2 of Python string methods. So today's episode what we're going to do is focus on some methods, and we're going to talk, and I'm going to remind you about the last string methods that we explained in the previous video, but today's video is going to be a little bit different. So today's episode is really important, and after this video we're going to talk about lists in Python, the introduction to the list and some methods of the list, and then we're going to keep and then so on. So what we're going to do is the first, so let's practice with let's say word dot lower or dot capitalize. Let's take this copy and then come back here, past Control B. So what we get is with the first character, it's a capitalized character. So let's do is no, we can't do this. So let's do lower. So let's say lower, and what we get is lowercase character. But today's episode, let's talk about another thing which ends with let's say character, let's n, and what we get is true, because yes, Python it ends with n. So let's try. Oh, so what we get is the situation is false. So let's talk a little bit about another situation. So let's get let's say dot title also. So you can do this and you can do capitalize it. It's the same actually. I think it's capitalized. False. So let's do this. So what we get is true, because yes, actually the first character is capitalized character. So let's talk a little bit about another thing, which is I think yes. So yes. So let's talk about index function. So this is a good function. Index actually is, let's remind you about find function first. So find, it's a function that we use it to get the position of a particular item or character in the string. So let's do 0. So let's say b. So -1. Because so if you get -1, that means you can't access to this character, because you don't have this character in this string. So let's do p. So 0. There's another thing. So let's say find n. So 5. Yes. The first thing, find. Let's say if we have another p. So let's say b. In this situation we have two characters. So we have b and we have another and the same character b. So in this situation, what it will give you? It will give you the position of the first b or the last b. So find, it will by default it will give you the first b. So before this b, it will give you the first by default. So it will give you the b. There's another function which do the opposite. It's it's give you the last, not the first. So I find it will give you at 6, because b is in position 6. So this is the first thing. The second point that I'm gonna talking about is if you have this character, we have this character, so it will give you -1. So -1, it's like you have this character in this string, So this is the first thing. We have another function. It's the same. It's like find, but it's a little bit different because it's do the same job, but when we it's do the same function, but when we talk about we have know this character, it doesn't return -1. It's gonna be say error, you know. So let's try to do index. So it do the same thing, so it will give you 0 because b in the position 0. So it's like fine, but in this situation there's a point, there's a difference between find and index in this point, which is if you have no function this character t, so it will give you yes, we have this actually. So let's try another edge. So what we get is substring not found, you know. So this is the first thing. Yes, I think yes. So yes, let's talk about let's talk a little bit about, I'm gonna if I remember anything about any method, I'm gonna talk about it in this situation, but if I don't remember, you know, it's like. But let's talk about format. So format, actually it's like format, we have two things. So the first thing, we have format method. So format method actually is the method. What is a function? So method is function, you know. So when we say method, it's like function. This is the first thing. What is a function? So function, it's like it's perform a task. So let's say capitalize or title or word or title, this is a function. This is perform task. So what is this task? Is return a copy of string, let's say Python, with its first character capitalized. So this is the function or the task that any function that's title performed, this is task, which is return a copy of string with its capitalized character. So this is the first thing. So let's say if we have, for example, you know, so in the other videos we're going talking about functions and what a function is, but keep in your mind, function is like, it's like perform a task, which this task is going to be a different tasks and different methods and functions. So format is a function that provide two things, provide one thing actually. So we have there's two types of formatting, but today's episode we're going to talk about we're going to cover just the first type, which is format. There's a map format, but today's episode we're going to talk about formats, but just format. So what's this thing? It's just like format. So we have the first thing, this. Actually the default value of this is 0, you know. So between those things, between this is called replacement field. Between replacement field mark, yes, we have numeric numbers. So we have number 5, 10. It's depending on the values, you know. This is the first thing. So let's say if we have print, and let's say your name is Bankida, or your name is, and let's say, you can, by the way, you can use this or this, it's the same. So let's say use this, and let's say use, let's say name, or let's say, don't let's say, so the name of language is word. So it will return your name of your name anyway. So don't care about grammars. So the name of, so what we Python, you know. We can do the same but just by format. So let's say formats. So print your the name of language is we can do replacement field, you know, and dot, not this or this, comma, dot. This is the first thing, because a function, keep in your mind, this is a rule. If we put dot or print and then something like that, is a function, you know. This is the syntax. So format word. So what we're gonna get is the same thing, you know. This is the first thing. So let's say if we have if we have, for example, let's make it a little bit different. So we have G. Let's say we have I don't know what's that mean, but I think your name is your system is, don't care about sentences, you know, because I have no idea how to use examples. So let's say we can use something like word. Let's try this together. So word and let's say name, and let's say language or Python, and let's say system S, and let's say Windows. You get error, you know. So you get error in this situation. So this is the first thing. Why? Because we have no idea. So let's say 0 and let's say 1. So what we get is 0. So this is a situation that we call it arguments, you know. So error replacement index 0 out of range for position argument tuple. So why you can't use this? But there's a situation. I'm gonna talk about it another time. But from now, put in your mind, let's say S. Let's say Windows. So what we're gonna do is word and then S, which is, you know. So what we get is the system. There's another thing, print. Let's say A. I don't know what's the example. A. I think this is the example. B. That's just this. Dot format A and B. So let's here A is equal to 0 and B equal to 1. So what we get is A 0 and B equal to 1, you know. So this is the first situation. There's some try to do 0 and let's say here W, and let's say here S. So let's say there W equal to Python, and let's say S or S equal to system or Windows or Linux. So Linux. So yes, so let's take this. So what we get is the name of language is Python, your system is Linux, you know. It's really simple. Thank you so much for watching this episode. See you on another episode. Yes.